Hello and welcome today to a new video that I'm making here. This time it's going to be on Pathfinder 1E. Now I'm building a character, Kris in this case, as I tend to make a lot of characters, and one thing I love to do is to actively make characters off other characters in media to see if I can build them. And though I haven't done one of these videos in a while, or too long honestly, I figured why not start all over again and start from the beginning. Today we're building Kris, and with that, we need to keep a couple things in mind. First off, he is a human adopted by monsters, so there's a lot of potential with this for character backstories, enough as seen in deltarune chapters 1 and 2, and here soon, hopefully, chapters 3 forward. Now we get a plus 2 to any one stat of our choosing. We're choosing strength in this instance, as we're a very strong character, as dexterity doesn't really fit to this. Not that you're not quite flexible when you need to be. I put his alignment being generally neutral because the fact is kind of more the player controls, it kind of more like the show, so we don't know what his alignment truly would be. We haven't seen the rest of the game. So with this build here, we need to keep in mind that this is of my own ability. So I'm doing so any class feat, or any class option, feat, trait, anything I may have missed that may fit this character a little better. Let me know in the comments. Let me know if any character you'd love to see me build later. Now, we're starting off with putting our +2 racial bonus into strength, as we are using a standard fantasy point buy. For our stats, we're putting a 12 in our intelligence, 14 dexterity, constitution of 12, intelligence 13, wisdom 11, charisma 12. Now the reason for this, Kris can hit hard, and he's hard to hit when need to be, so his strength and dexterity with the bonus required will be equaling 14 over 1. Because he has a bunch more, he has points here than what most of what we see with Rousey, for example. Constitution of 12 is much fitting, though nowhere near as much as Susie. I'll be doing that one in the future. His intelligence is 13, thankfully, because of him being able to go through so many traps. It's quite obvious that he at least has a decent intelligence, though he's not like a wizard, which we all-knowing kind of deal. With a wisdom of 11, he just so happens to be able to see what most people don't actually see as easily, though he's not going to be real perceptible. With a charisma of 12, he's going to be able to easily persuade most common people to be able to do what he needs to do, or to be able to pacify them as we see in combat. So, with that, we have our racial traits being the 50-foot land speed, which most races actually have. We have a bonus feat in the skill trait. The skill trait is very useful in this instance because it actually grants us an additional +1 to hit points and skill points per level we possess. That is a big bonus. We can just roll 20 hit points and 20 skill points, which are going to be drastically needed for our class. For our bonus feat, we're starting off with combat reflexes. Now, 2 starting traits, we are picking up on Death Dodger, which gives us a +1 racial bonus trait bonus on all reflex saves, which is great for our class. Secondly, we'll pick it up on Charming. Charming just so happens to grant us a +1 trait bonus on all bluff and diplomacy checks the character would make, and a +1 trait bonus to save us his language-dependent spells, but that's not really going to matter too much for the build. Now, first level here, we are starting off with Fighter. We're sticking with Fighter because he is basic. As basic as you can really get, so he's a fighter. We get our first bonus feat at first level, and then more later on. Putting our bonus feat into Bodyguard, and our first feat being into Vanguard style. Bodyguard letting us be able to use the aid another action much more easily to defend an ally, while the Vanguard style just so happens to let us be able to use it for also reflex saves, which is very phenomenal, very powerful for us. As Kris seems to be a very easy, supportive character, but with the entire Snowgrave route, it just so happens to be an easy option for you to be able to go full-on genocide. Kind of remember going through Undertale for that one. Now, second level, we pick up on Bravery, +1, which grants us a +1 bonus on all save versus fear effects. along with our second bonus feat, which we'll put into power attack. With his skills, we have primarily 3 options we can go with the 4th one being varying an option depending on what party member you have with you. His actions are usually with checking, persuading, and his attack action, which later on in the Snowgray route he gets access to X-Slash, I believe it was, or was that with Spam Tongue, one of the 2. But either way, power attack does represent this fairly well, as we do get extra bonuses to damage for sacrificing our chance to hit, which can be a problem, but bear with me. We then at level 3 get Armor Training 1, which reduces the armor check penalty and increases the max dex on armor that we're wearing by 1. This proceeds to scale up as it gets to a higher version of it, going from 1 to 2 to 3, so on and so forth. And at that level we get the feat Persuasive, giving us some really nice bonuses into Diplomacy and Bluff. These do stack with Charming, just to let you know, so there's no question there, it's untyped. At 4th level we pick up on the bonus feat Intense Blow. With this, it just so happens to let us be able to hit much harder, much similar to power attack. It's pretty helpful. We do get our first API bonus. Put this wherever you want. I highly suggest putting it inside of strength or dexterity. More strength than dexterity because of not having weapon finesse. At 5th level, we do weapon training 1, which we actually put into our advanced weapon training, which is the fighter's tactics. Now, we do not have any teamwork feats yet, but this here lets us count all allies as being allies that have the teamwork feats we have for the purpose of us gaining the benefits of it. This is powerful, this is very useful, and really fits the aspect of Kris being able to help allies constantly without having to have them have specific action. We also pick up on the feat Combat Expertise. Not only is he able to hit hard when he needs to, he can also defend real well against incoming attacks. This is a lot like power attack with the same bonuses you would gain for damage. Instead, you actually get to your AC, and instead of penalties for penalties you only take for the attack roll, for damage you take for AC. It's quite simple, it's easy to keep up with. Now, at 6th level we get a hold of Bravery 2 plus 2, as it does improve. And we get our next bonus feat being that of Coordinating Maneuvers. Now this is very useful as a combat feat. It is a combat teamwork feat, I believe it was. This teamwork feat requires you and your allies to have the same feat, and it also requires having combat expertise, which is very useful. This here lets you be able to gain a +2 in all combat maneuver checks when you are adjacent to an ally with this feat. This is very useful for a lot of the combat maneuvers we get to see Kris actively use. And later on, there are plenty of more options that could be taken thanks to having this feat. At 7th level we get a hold of Armor Training 2. And we get a hold of the feat Shield Focus, increasing our AC by 1 when using a shield. We increase the max bonus the shield grants us by 1. This is very good because he does have a shield and is quite frequently shown and it reduces so much damage. At 8th level we get a hold of bonus feat Improved Feint. Now this does not exactly fit the build 100%, but the entire aspect of being able to be very maneuvery kind of fits with this build a little bit, in my opinion. Along with this, we also get our second API. Once again, put in whatever you want. Personally, I would still put it instead of strength. But Constitution would be a good bet as well at this point, because you're going to need the hit points at later levels. At 9th level, we get a hold of Weapon Training 2. For this, I chose Heavy Blades. And this means at 9th level, and every time we get this class feature afterwards, we increase our attack and damage with all forms of Heavy Blades by 1. This does stack with itself, which is very handy. Now, keep in mind that it does look like he uses a long sword, though it could be argued a short sword. So, Heavy Blades is what I went with. Also, at this level, we pick up on Vanguard Ward, the next in our style. Now, all this really does is let us be able to use it like bodyguard for the attacks opportunity. Instead of having to choose to just bend our action to aid another to apply to reflex save, we can now just use it as an attack of opportunity. We sacrifice that when an oncoming reflex save happens, and boom, they get that bonus, which is pretty sweet. Now, you also get some other nice benefits, but I'll let you figure that one out for yourself for other build purposes, because we're not going to go down the entire full chain. At 10th level, we pick up on Bravery 3 and the bonus feat Cleave. Now, extra damage, X slash, this so happens to states that it is 2 diagonal slashes, and Cleave will help with this, but you'll be able to round out our combats, and being able to knock out enemies before they hit any of the party members. I'm looking at Rousey on this one, who has like almost no health to speak of. At 11th level, we pick up on Armor Training 3, once again increasing our max dex by 1 and decreasing our armor check penalty by 1 for all armor we're wearing. Along this level, we pick up on Dodge. Dodge because the fact is we just so happen to be able to get around in combat easily enough to not get hit if you're skilled enough, aka the player. At 12th level, we pick up on our next bonus feat, the improved critical longsword. If you're good enough with timing, you're able to hit a lot of criticals. Not saying that I am personally, it's just that you can. So, there you go. Next up at 13th level, we pick up on Weapon Training 3, we're getting Retrained Initiative. Wielding a weapon that we have a weapon training in, being aka the heavy blade assistance, we apply that bonus also now to our initiative, which is very, very powerful. Let us be able to take action sooner than most of the party members. We also pick up on weapon focused longsword at this level because we desperately need to be able to hit things more often thanks to our penalties from power attacks. At 14th level, we pick up on Bravery 3. And we pick up on the bonus feat, Great Cleave, being able to make an endless amount of attacks with Cleave as long as we can actually move up 5 feet each time. Hit them, so we're good. 15th, pick up on Armor Training 4. And we pick up on Mobility. Mobility decrease all forms of attack opportunities against us, which is even better than expected, to be honest. At 16th level, we pick up on the bonus feat, Weapon Specialization for Longsword. Choosing this, we actually increase our damage by 2 with all longswords we wield, along with getting our next API bonus. Put it anywhere you want. I do highly suggest Strength or Constitution though. Both of them are very helpful, and at this point you need to be able to hit easily, and you need to be able to survive hits. At 17th level, we get our 4th weapon training, and we pick up the advanced weapon training, Fighter's Reflexes. This lets us be able to apply our armor, our weapon training bonus to all reflex saves that we make. This is really useful, because the fact is we do not have the highest reflex save in the world, and we're going to need it desperately at this point. When you're facing dragons and demons and whatnot, it's going to be very hard to ultimately be able to survive. And many of them have things like breath weapons, fireball, and this will help a lot. On top of this, we also pick up the feat Combat Patrol. This will actually help us be able to support our party much better. As one of the big limitations we have at this point is we have to have all of our allies right by us to be able to do all this fancy defensive stuff. And what this does in question is for every 5 points of your base attack bonus you possess, you increase your reach by 5. You increase your threatened range by 5, so that is a lot. It's a lot to take in. And yeah, so that's pretty good. It does a lot for you in this build, as you're able to not only be able to defend allies from farther away, but in doing so you can actively be much more in front of tank without catching your party into your problems. At 18th level, we pick up on Bravery 5 and the bonus feat, Critical Focus. Critical Focus increases our chance to confirm a critical hit by 4. This is a really useful feat if you want to pick up any of the critical feats, and if you want to, I suggest taking this a little bit sooner. At 19th level, pick up on Armor Mastery with this little unique little gem of an ability. We just so happen to get a damage reduction of 5/dash when wearing armor. The amount of survivability we have just acquired at this level is unreal. And with that, we also pick up on greater weapon specialization longsword, once again increasing damage. At 20th level, we pick up on the last level of fighter, picking up on the abilities Weapon Mastery, and including the bonus feat being that greater weapon focus, longsword, increasing our attack by 1. And we get our last API, which I still highly suggest putting inside of strength or constitution at this point. Weapon Mastery is a very useful ability, as in doing so you just so happen to be able to have unparalleled mastery with said weapon. With that, you choose one weapon, being such out of longsword, great axe, or longbow. These aren't limited, by the way, it's just you gotta choose a weapon. Any attack made with that weapon automatically confirms all critical threats, and have their damage multipliers increased by 1. In addition, you cannot be disarmed when you wield this weapon. That is so powerful, as Kris can never lose his weapon now. His primary weapon. Now, with that, let's analyze it over this far. With that, you should have a high constitution and high strength score, being able to hit hard and take a lot of hits. Your AC should be fairly on par, as in doing so your max dex should be at least on average, especially if you're using matched items. And in doing so, you do have great survivability, with your reflex save being extraordinarily high, along with you being able to have a lot of hit points thanks to being a human with the skilled traits. You are not only a paragon of party support without magic, you're also a pinnacle threat in the fray without having to be too close to your allies. You can dance around the battlefield, dishing out loads of damage with ease, and be able to take a lot of damage thanks to things like Armor Mastery. Now, downsides. Being a fighter, you have a low will save, and with a low wisdom, you're going to easily be able to be taken control of. Charmed or dominated is a big problem. Along with not having any feats such as precise shot to prevent you from hitting your party members in the fray, with this being Kris Dreamer, Susie's always up in the fray, Susie's the barbarian, so you're going to be able to hit your party very easily. You take a major penalty to your attack rolls to avoid them. So that is a big issue. Along with the fact you do take a decent amount of penalties thanks to power attack and combat expertise, so use them sparingly and you will probably be able to hit fairly frequently. Otherwise, you are very persuasive when you need to be and hard to hit usually. So you won't have much of a problem, but you will have the issues that you'll spread a little too thin, as you're not focused too heavily on the skill based of this build or the combat of this build. You're trying to be a little bit of both in areas and trying to be a little bit of support, a little bit of damaging, so you're a little spread out. So change things as you will if you